Hi, we're Richard and Jackie from Early Retirement Wanderlust.
We've been early retired for 2 years now, and we are just reflecting on some of the things that perhaps we would tell our younger selves to make that process a little bit easier in the current economic climate.
Something we've discussed quite a lot when we've been out and about hiking recently is, would we have done anything differently if we'd known that we were going to early retire so young? Is there any advice that we might give to our younger children who are in their 20s now that would help them if they wanted to make the same choices as us?
So what we've done is we've tried to distill it down into 5 key things that we think would be really valuable advice that if we could go back, we would have told our younger selves.
So some of the things we're going to talk about are to do with finances, and we are not financial advisors in any way, but they are just some reflections on things that we know would have made a difference to us.
So the first thing we would advise our younger selves to have done would be to make small overpayments on our mortgage.
Yeah, it was something that we always meant to get around to. We lived in the same house for 23 years. Whenever we got a pay rise, we kept saying we must go into the bank and just up our mortgage a little bit. Even if we paid off £50 extra a month, that would have made such a difference to when we got the mortgage paid off. And actually, it was our laziness that we never got round to it. 23 years ago, there wasn't particularly online banking. We had to go physically into a bank and we were working, and we just never got round to it. But if we'd done that 2 or 3 times over those 23 years, we would have paid our mortgage off years earlier, and something we definitely would advise younger people to do, particularly because it's so much easier and you can do it all online now.
And one of the things that we've absolutely recognised is if we could get that mortgage paid off earlier, once your mortgage is paid, your ability to save money and put extra money into savings just goes up exponentially.
Something that we would definitely change, reflecting back on what we did financially with cars, is that we wouldn't swap our cars as regularly as we did. With us both being professional couple, we would swap our cars every 3 years. Mine particularly, I always just got on some sort of HP finance, so I never particularly owned the car, but I was always paying for a car for the best part of 25 years.
Yeah, and if we just amended our lifestyle a little bit and were quite happy once we paid a car off after 3 years to sit with it, even if it was only for 1 year or for 2 years, that would have made such a difference, because we were trying to think back. We've pretty much gone through most of our adult life having car loans, which is just crazy. And if we just kept hold of the cars for a little bit longer and just enjoyed that little bit of a holiday period away from car payments, we could have saved so much more money.
And we've realised that now that we've been retired. I've had my car, which is a little Fiat 500, for nearly 7 years now. It runs perfectly well. There's no problems with it. And I actually love the car, so I feel no need to swap it anymore.
And we were just sort of sucked into that whole industry of selling cars. And, you know, we liked the treat when we were working of that new car feeling. But is that new car feeling worth the amount of debt that you're taking on? And thinking back now, it probably wasn't. On the theme of buying things, we would advise our younger selves to just buy less stuff.
I was a lover of sales, and I would go to all of the Christmas and the summer sales, and I would buy things just because they were a bargain, and I really wanted it at that time. But when we cleared out the loft, when we moved and downsized, there was a lot of that stuff that was hardly used and just shoved up there. Another example is when we used to go on holiday with the children a couple of times. We were real consumer addicts. We would just go and buy lots of stuff because there were different shops that we didn't have in England, and we'd come home with suitcases full of things. Again, we'd use them, we wanted them at the time, but we didn't need it. It was just stuff.
And on a day-to-day basis, whenever we went food shopping, we never had a list or a meal plan or anything like that. It's really embarrassing to talk about now. We just bought, and our food bills were going through the roof, and now it just feels so wasteful. And I, for one, feel just really guilty about that level of consumerism, because in our youth, we were really wasteful, and perhaps that's an indication of youth, I don't know. but we could have saved so much more money by just simply buying less stuff.
And I know our son now is very much budgeting the way we budget now, because he's seen that from how we live our life now. He's bought his own house and they are trying really hard to stick to a strict budget. They've taken on the cash is king, I think, a bit as well. Another thing we would tell our younger selves, and particularly our younger children who are in the 20s now, is the importance of pensions.
We know that we are really lucky in terms of the workplace pension that we had as teachers. And to be honest, we didn't really have to think about it that much. It was just something that started when we started teaching 30 years ago, and all of those payments went in, and then we got figures at the end as to what that pension was worth. But we know that not everyone is in that position. We are eternally grateful for that. It's not one of the reasons we went into the profession, but it has made our early retirement earlier. But for our kids, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, they both work in industry. They don't work in the public sector. Luke, our son, is actually a financial advisor, and he's really emphasised the importance to his sister and their partners of making sure that they've got a really good pension in place, and that they're maximising the payments that they can put in, and not thinking about it in our 40s. It's got to start for this generation in their 20s. They've really got to start thinking about what they're contributing straight away as soon as you start working. And it's something, if we hadn't been in teaching, we would definitely have advised ourselves to do.
And one of the things Luke says is that he's got a range of clients, and retiring at 55 is eminently doable from either the public sector or the private sector, as long as that planning process has taken place from an early age. So yeah, get on and plan. One of the things that we think that we didn't do too bad at in our youth, but we would certainly go back and remind ourselves, is not wishing our lives away and making sure that we live in the moment.
Yeah, we really made sure when the children were younger that we valued the time that we had with them. We made the most of that time. We didn't wish our lives away. We invested in nice holidays with the children. And I don't mean big lavish holidays. We did have a couple where we went to Florida. But actually for our children, probably some of their favourite holiday memories is going camping down in Cornwall at Mother Ivy's Bay and just spending, because we were teachers, we had 3 weeks down there just playing on the beach. But it's just investing that time with the children, spending time doing things that we loved doing with the people that we love.
And I've talked about it before. It's those memory dividends that Bill Perkins talks about in his book, Die with Zero, that investing in those experiences with family and friends is not just about the experience. And even now, 30 years on, we are still thinking back to those family holidays that we had with our loved ones, and it keeps paying back in bucket loads. So as much as we wanted to prepare for early retirement, it was really important to make sure that we valued the moment. Early retirement is the end game, but the life is actually in the moment and valuing that moment.
And something that we absolutely love. Our children obviously do have really fond memories of spending all those times on holidays with us. And even now, we're going away in 2 weeks' time for 2 weeks with the whole family, the children, their partners, my mum and my sister, because we do value that time and spending time, and they want to spend time with us now, which is so lovely.
And you can't buy that time back.
No.
So once it's gone, and that's why we invested in that, and we would always advise our younger selves to keep investing in those moments together.
So that's it. Just a few random ramblings from Jackie and Richard about things that we possibly would have told our younger selves that might have made retiring earlier a little bit easier.
What we're really interested in is what advice you would give your younger self in terms of preparing for early retirement or just generally life advice. So pop those in the comments below. We'd be really interested in reading them. But that's it from us. So we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.